Okay, hi everyone, welcome. Happy Monday. So tonight we have a super special guest. Her name is Lauren Lundberg. She is my dear friend in the business. She is on the same larger team as us, but she is not directly on our team. But so we are part of a team called Team Rockstar Fit, and she is on our larger team. So she is a 3-star diamond in her first business center. She is a diamond in her second business center. She was a 2019 premier coach. She is a wife. She is a mama to beautiful Kenzie. And she's going to share her story tonight and just talk about overcoming struggles. I feel like a lot of time in the business, it's really easy to look at others who are having success and feel like it's easier for them. They never go through anything. Everyone just says yes to them. Nobody ghosts them. They never get coach cancellations. Everything is just sunshine and rainbows all the time. And that's why they're successful. And it's just simply not true. This business is just a decision to go for it and to lean in when things get hard. Lauren and I got to present together at the Diamond Retreat in Philadelphia. And since then, we have become very close friends. We talk every single week on Zoom. We text every single day. And we just push each other because we have very similar goals in the business. And it's just nice to have that person that you can rely on, that you can vent to, that you can celebrate with, that understands what you're going through and can lift you up when you're feeling down. So I want to give it over to her so she can share with us. So I'm going to mute myself, and without further ado, Lauren, you can take it away.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me tonight. First of all, congratulations to you guys for being in 5-star qual right now. I've been like celebrating this as much as, not as much as Danny, but like I feel like I'm part of it. It's super exciting. But I've just had so much fun working with Danny. And I just have to say really quick, if you're someone who's wanting to push with someone in the business, the best thing you can do for yourself is to work with someone who's not exactly like you, because they're going to push you and help you in ways that you're not naturally good at. Like Danny brings that like tough personality in, and I'm like, okay, I'm here to help everyone. Like, I'll pat you on the back. And Danny just like helps me say the things I want to say, but in a polite way. But I'm so excited to share my story with you tonight. I have been a coach for 5 years. I'm going to take it like way back to the beginning. So I live in Iowa. I grew up on a farm, and I loved being an athlete. Like, that was my one and only role in high school. I was a 3-season athlete, and when I graduated and went to college, I lost myself. I no longer had a team. I no longer had a coach telling me what my workouts were going to be. And I didn't have that like team camaraderie. I didn't have anyone depending on me. And so in a sense, I completely lost myself. I gained my freshman 15, 20, 25, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. I was not happy, and I could not figure out how to be consistent on my own. So long story short, I yo-yo dieted. Like, that is my story. I would hit the gym. I would work really hard for a week, and then I'd fall off. Like, I'm not kidding. I lived across the street from a gym, literally across the street. If it snowed, I did not go. It snowed. Not happening today. Like, not happening. So anyways, I struggled for such a long time. And I remember the very first Beachbody program I ever did was called Turbo Jam. I don't know if any of you know what Turbo is. But I tried it with a friend over my spring break, my freshman year of college. And I was home that week, and I went over to her house every single day, and we had so much fun, to the point where I begged my parents to please buy me the program. What happened when I didn't have a partner there with me doing it? I took it back to college with me. I dabbled. I was not consistent. I still struggled, didn't finish it, still went in that vicious cycle of falling off, jumping back on, feeling really crappy all the time. So throughout that, I ended up like down the road, I got married. I got my teaching degree. I got my foot in the door teaching, or being a teacher's associate at the school that I was going to teach at. Like I had my foot in the door. I was literally getting paid $10 an hour to have a foot in the door so that I could get a teaching position. So that summer, my husband and I closed on our first house, and I saw on Facebook that PIO was being released. I was a complete athlete. To me, it was cardio, it was weightlifting, it was nothing else. Pilates, yoga was not my jam, but I loved Shalene from Turbo Jam. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. I loved Shalene. I know that I can do an 8-week program. Money was super tight. Like I said, I was making $10 an hour. We just closed on our first house. I had just actually been hired to be a teacher. I knew I was going to start making more money. It's now July. First teaching paycheck doesn't happen until September. So I begged Caleb to let me buy the program. He's amazing. He let me buy it. I promised him I would do every single day, and I did. I could not believe the results that I got from a program that did not involve killing myself in the gym. And that's what hooked me on Beachbody. It's what hooked me on this lifestyle. Crossing those workouts off one day at a time, and just like, this is my philosophy, one day at a time. What can you do today to move yourself forward? So whenever I get stuck, that's what I go back to. But I finished that program, and I found myself telling everyone about it. My sister bought the program. Like 20 of my friends went out and bought it. I had no idea that I could be making money or start a business by being a coach and helping people do the same thing. So anyways, what ended up happening was a friend that I had gone to college with was sharing her story on social media. She had just finished a 21-day workout program, and she had reached out to me and asked me to do a 5-day clean eating challenge. And I knew for me, like, okay, I just got the workouts done. I have that down. Nutrition, don't even get me started. I literally craved brownies every single day of the week. Like, brownies were my jam. I could not give them up. I wanted them all the time. So I did this 5-day clean eating challenge. Of course, it fell during conference week as my first year of teaching. I don't know if there are any teachers on here, but terrible week to start. I did not rock that challenge, but somehow I ended up winning, and I won a tank top out of it. And that's what got me. I was like, okay, cool. I like free stuff. I'll take this tank top. But I ended up asking her, like, hey, are you a coach? Like, I had kind of heard, like, through Shalene Johnson about coaching. I really had no idea what it was. But I asked her about it, and no hesitations. I was like, hey, I love these workouts. I needed to draw a line in the sand and just commit to myself for life. And that's what coaching was for me. I had no idea it was a business opportunity. I just knew I was so tired of throwing in the towel. And I knew that if I announced to the world that I became a Beachbody coach, that people would be waiting for me to announce that I failed again. And I was not willing to do that. So I was the type of person who just got on and I shared my journey from the get-go. And it became my passion. I had no idea that this is what I wanted to do. Coaching fell in my lap my first year of teaching. Teaching is really hard. Like, especially your first year. I was in the classroom all day, every day. Coaching would not have worked if I had decided it wouldn't have worked. But I loved what I was doing, and for me, it was an outlet. So I continued to share my journey, and I used it as accountability to just make time for my self-care. And I had been a teacher for probably about 4 months, and I realized this isn't for me. And that was really hard to know that I had gone to college for 4.5 years. It took me another 3.5 years to get hired as a teacher, to only realize that this was not what I wanted to do. So at that time, I didn't really have another choice. one, I had worked so hard to get a job at this teaching or at this school district. And so I had to stick it out. And we just had this new house. So, but I went to work every single day and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I dreaded it. I always felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like the teachers around me knew that my heart wasn't in it. And that was really it was really a tough pill to swallow. So I would say I had probably been a coach for 5 months when my husband and I decided that we were ready to start a family. Our journey to starting a family was not like I expected. We went through infertility, went through IVF, several rounds of IVF, until finally I got pregnant with twins. So as you heard, I have one daughter, and that's because our pregnancy ended at 23 weeks. I suddenly went into labor at 23 weeks. They couldn't stop it. And we had Lake and Kenzie literally within hours. And it was the type of situation where if I had gone into labor a day earlier, Kenzie wouldn't be here either. So because they don't take babies at 22 weeks, they don't even attempt to save them. So you can imagine, I didn't love my job. I just had babies at 23 weeks. When we got into the NICU with Kenzie, they told us that we could expect to stay in the NICU with her. If she survived, we could expect to stay in the NICU until her due date. I had her in February. Her due date wasn't until June. So you can see how my philosophy of one day at a time really came into play. And at that time, that wasn't really my philosophy. Thank goodness for my husband, because it was literally like, okay, go to the hospital. What's on the board today? But you need to know that my plan during this pregnancy was to work my butt off and to be able to be a stay-at-home mom by the time I had them. So when I had them, I thought I had months left to make this happen. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh man, I can't make this work. I don't know how I'm going to make this work. I can't be at home working my business. But you know what? I found a way to work my business while being there for Kenzie. Okay. So there's so much, like, I think part of it is that we just like have this picture in our heads of how it's supposed to be, how we're going to make it happen. And then life throws us a curveball. And then all of a sudden we're like, I can't do it. And would it be a valid reason for me to stop? Of course. Most people would understand, like, hey, yeah, of course. You just lost your son. Your daughter was born 17 weeks early. I totally understand if you want to take a step back from your business and just be there with family. But my vision was greater than that. I wanted to get to the end of her stay at the NICU and be able to stay home with her. And the thing that had me moving towards that was that our doctors told us she was born so prematurely that she shouldn't go to daycare her first 2 years because her immune system would be so low. So lots of scary things happening here, but man, my why got so much bigger. And I brought my bag of Beachbody stuff with me to the hospital every single day. And I worked so hard to be able to quit my job. And you know what happened? My first week in the NICU, I had 3 coach cancellations. 3. How many of you would have wanted to quit at that point? Like, that's hard. So freaking hard. Like, and one of them was my mother-in-law. Like, come on, you know what I'm going through. I've told you I want to do this full time, and you just quit on me. So I felt it, and then I kept going. And I started inviting all of these people who were following along with Kenzie's journey. And I just kept going because I couldn't imagine going back to work and not being there for her. So there were so many ups and downs, so many. I remember when I announced that I was leaving my teaching job, which, by the way, I I look back at paychecks in February 2017 when this happened, I was making $1,000 a month. 1,000. My teaching income was 2,000 a month. So not even, I was barely halfway there. And I was like, I have to make this work. When I actually left my teaching job, I was still shy, but I knew that I had to make it work. I knew I was going to make it work, and I hustled so hard. The week that I announced that I was leaving my job and I resigned, I had coaches message me and say they were taking a step back from the business. So what I want you to know is that it sucks sometimes. There are going to be highs, there are going to be lows. But when you look at my story right now and you see I'm a 3-star diamond, I'm a diamond in my second business center, we hit Premier, I now stay home, I now have doubled my teaching income. You see the sparkly stuff. You see the shiny stuff, but you don't see the ups and downs it takes to get there. And I promise you, every single coach who has met their goal has had stuff like that happen to them. So, are you willing to work through that? It's all hard, but I can tell you from experience that if you push past that hard, amazing things will happen. I can take you like, and not all of it is going to be as serious. That is obviously what I went through. I've actually had coaches on my team tell me that they can't be as successful as me because they don't have a story like mine. Not true. Not true at all. It may have been the thing that made me go balls to the wall and just like make it happen. But I think of all the people who would have used that as an excuse to not go for it. And like I said, it would have been completely valid. But think about how much credibility I built for myself, how much trust I made for people. I had coaches, people join my team because they saw me bring my tennis shoes with me to the NICU, which was an hour away from my house. I brought my shoes with me so I could work out at the gym 30 minutes a day. I found a way, and you can too. So hard things will happen, but just to like show you even like a not a serious example, in October, Danny and I were both really upset that we didn't get to go to leadership. It was frustrating. It's been on both of our goal boards for years. And it's just hard when you don't hit a goal and you see everyone else live out the goal that you wanted and you see them having so much fun. It's blowing up your social media. Maybe some of you have felt that way with people popping as diamonds or announcing that they're able to do this full time or go on a trip. Not right now, but go like planning a trip for somewhere that they want to go. Like that comparison steals your joy, right? It's really easy to get sucked into that. But you know what? If you see someone making it happen, it just tells you that you can too. And your journey, your route might look different, but you can decide at any point to do it. So in October, when all of this happened, Danny reached out to me and she's like, hey, I know you're upset too. Let's push together. So we started sending out 50 invites every single day, determined to make it happen. We both built massive momentum in our businesses when it felt like it was stagnant, when it felt like nobody was saying yes, when it felt like nobody on the team cared as much as we cared. But we found a way to make it work and to just take action. If you're ever feeling stuck or feeling like things suck, take action. Like just notice how you feel when you send out 5 invites. You don't have to send out 50 invites. But I'll tell you, if you send out 50 invites for a few months in a row, that builds massive momentum. Like looking back, we both just this last week is like, when did this start to happen? Like so many people are excited. So many more people are pushing. But you have to remember, your team is going to do what you do. So if you're someone who takes a step back when life gets hard, what is your team going to do? If you're someone who pushes through the hard and says, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to keep going, your team is going to be more likely to follow. Not all of them will, but more of them will than if you decide to always take a step back. So, in a nutshell, in 21 minutes, that's my basic story. I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have or help out in any way I can.
You're amazing. I love you so much. Your story is such a great example of when you want something, it doesn't really matter what's going on around you if you just keep that focus instead of focusing on all of the reasons why you shouldn't keep going. You focused on that one, like, I want to be home with Kenzie and be able to care for her. I mean, you didn't really have a choice, but I mean, money would have played a factor, right? But like, keeping that narrow vision. And I think it's so easy to open up that tunnel and be like, well, she's doing this, well, they're achieving this, should I be doing that? Or, you know, this girl's jumping ship or whatever, right? It's so easy to lose that focus on the thing that you want. And you know, a lot of coaches come in and they're like, I want to quit my job. And you're like, okay, this is what it takes to get there. And then, you know, one bad month or one bad week or one no or one mean comment, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, right? It just really shows you, like, how bad do you actually want those goals that you set for yourself. So I love your story. I would love if you guys have any questions to ask her. She is an open book. She's amazing. Stephanie says, have you read any PD books or anything that helped you to stop comparing yourself? Also, you're amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Comparison. I don't know if I have a particular book in mind for comparison. Gosh, I don't know. I feel like I listen to, when I'm struggling with comparison, I head to YouTube and I listen to top coaches, or I don't know if that's a great example, but like a coach that I admire, and I just listen to them and I'm like, okay, like something that they're going to say is going to light a fire in me. I like listening to Melanie Mitro's podcasts. She talks about comparison a lot in there too, keeping those blinders on. I think sometimes too, it's just reminding yourself that, like, okay, what they're doing doesn't matter. Like, they're going for a different goal than I am. What is it that I'm pushing towards?
Feel free to ask question, guys. Unmute.
I have a question.
Go.
So I know that you were saying that you're kind of the type of person that is like, I just want to help everyone. So when you're inviting, are you right now focusing more on coaching? Are you like, what are you focusing your invites around?
So I invite to the team. So our team, every month we do a team challenge. And so it's basically a challenge group, super simple. It's 2 weeks long. And so I invite people to come join the team. I lead with come try the experience, because for most of us, we had Beachbody coaching built up to be something different than what it actually is. And most of us probably realized later, like, oh man, like if I hadn't experienced this, my life might be so different. And so I lead with the experience, and I tell people to just come try it for 30 days. But they're going to get the best experience if they really commit and if they participate and they lean on the team, because that's where it really changes for most people, is having that piece of community.
Gabby said, I just started, I'm overweight, I'm posting stuff and people are telling me I can't post that because I'm overweight. What do you suggest for people to move past it?
Oh man, first of all, that person does not, I don't understand why people give their opinion when it's not their place. Like, seriously, I get so frustrated when I see something like that, because your job is to inspire people and to show people what's possible. So first of all, don't let that person impact you, because they're probably not reading personal development. They probably aren't surrounding themselves with a positive community. They're probably not working on themselves at all. So focus on the people, like, the way that you think and the advice that you take should be from people you truly admire. And if it's not someone who is living a life like you want to have, their advice should not matter. Hold my beer, you betcha.
And just remember, if anyone's ever negative or putting you down for the things you're posting because of your coaching business, it's just because they have an insecurity of some kind. And not everyone's meant to be on your bus. I know we want everyone to like us. It's just not possible. And not everyone's going to agree with what you're doing, because what you're doing is really brave and you're living out your dreams and your goals. And it just shows them that they're not doing those things. So it's really hard when people who are not feeling great or not happy with their own lives see someone else being happy and thriving, because it reminds them that they're not. So they take their insecurities out on you. So again, blinders on, just keep moving forward, because fortunately, their negative opinions don't pay your bills. So it doesn't really matter what they think. You just keep doing what makes you happy and what's going to make you healthy and more positive, and you just keep moving forward with that. That's right.
For sure.
Does anyone have any questions for Lauren? She would love to answer some questions. Don't be shy.
I went so fast on that.
No, it's good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How did you balance your emotions going through everything that you did while trying to build the business in the beginning?
Good question. I think for me, like looking at everything that I went through, personal development saved me before I even needed to be saved. So I think personal development is the best solution for any mindset problem, for balance, for just fueling your mind and knowing what you want. I actually just started reading Fear is My Homeboy. Amazing book. Like, I'm reading this and I'm like, I feel like she's referencing like 12 different books that I've read in the last 5 years, but it's like all jam packed into one. It's so good. So if you struggle with fear, or if you struggle with, I guess, mindset at all, it's so good.
Alex said, what is one thing you would give a new coach as advice?
Good question. I would just say walk the walk. That's the first part. Start your own journey, share your journey, because that's what people want to see. And just trust the process. Trust your coach, because your coach is going to lead you and is going to tell you where to go from here next. Because I know as a new coach, it's really overwhelming to hear like, oh, Emerald, what's Emerald? Oh, it's Diamond, like Success Club. There's so many new terms and everything, but just trust the process and know that if you are going to get results and you're sharing your journey and you're inviting people to do this with you and you're building your mind, 4 vital behaviors right there. You're going to find success in this. You just have to stay consistent, trust the process, and trust your coach.
Stephanie says, what was your road to 3-star diamond like?
It was slow. So, honestly, okay. So my very first diamond was my sister. Like I said, she did PIO. So she was my very first coach after I became a coach. And looking back on it, I realized, one, that I could have gone diamond so much faster than I did, because my sister went emerald on one leg and I waited and waited and waited for somebody else to go emerald on the other leg when my husband was sitting at the top of that leg. Right? Yeah. I should have made him emerald a long time ago and I would have been diamond. So it was that way with everything. My sister went diamond. I could have made Caleb diamond and gone 2-star and then opened another business center. So just like I've noticed for myself, when I hit a goal, I turn around and I'm like, okay, you guys, come do this with me. And I wait for people to do what I did. It has to be a balance of both. It has to be a balance of you continuing to do your vital behaviors And I was a teacher. I'm a very show and tell type leader. When I'm in my A game, it's like, hey, here's what I did today. I did my stuff. I'm showing you what I did. You're free to use it. You're free to tweak it. But this is what I'm doing to find success. But that's my biggest piece of advice is, one, you're in control of a lot more than you think you're in control of. And two, you can't wait. You have to just keep going and run your own game. It's really hard when you see potential in people, and I struggle with that. I'm a type 2 Enneagram, 2 wing 3. And so when I see potential in someone else, like I want to give more to them instead of giving more to my business. How many invites to the team do you send on average per week? So for a while there, I was doing 50. But now what I'm doing is I have my Google Doc of all the people I've invited. So I'm doing follow-ups. I'm not as consistent with what I was doing, but I will say that because I was getting used to big numbers, on the days that I do invite, I can get caught up pretty quickly. So I don't necessarily follow a number anymore, but I like just doing the tracker and setting a timer.
Ashley says, I'm in my first ever program. Should I wait to invite people until I have results?
No, no, no. Invite now. And here's the reason. I tell all of my coaches when they first start, the very first call they get on with me, you are going to have more skin in the game if you bring someone with you. So invite a friend. You're going to get better results because someone else is depending on you. Yes. Bring someone along, because otherwise you're going to sit and wait for the perfect time and think your results aren't good enough. And that fear is just going to continue to build up. So overcome that fear and do it right away.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You said like your team will follow, what you lead them to follow. So how do you necessarily get around when you're having like a bad day and you kind of don't want to do what you're supposed to do and those kind of things, but you don't want to make it look like you don't want to do what you're doing. You want them, you want to motivate them to keep going even when you don't want to keep going. How do you overcome that?
I think transparency is really huge. I think that it's really important for my coaches to understand that I have days I don't want to do it either. And so I tell them that, but then I tell them how I feel once I took action, once I did it. I actually was in like a huge funk. Danny can attest to this, like a week and a half ago. I was just not in a good headspace. So this quarantine life that you guys are living right now, I've been doing this basically for several years because Kenzie was born so early. In the winter, we quarantine. And Kenzie was supposed to start preschool when all of this happened, and I was supposed to have time. I've been waiting for this time for years. So I had like hit this huge point where I was just like, I'm so frustrated. I feel like Jack Nicholson from The Shining, like I'm going to lose it. Like just was it a terrible, I had a terrible attitude. It was awful. But you know what switched it for me is I led a call on my bigger team that I'm part of, and it lit a fire in me. And I was like, this is what I needed. I needed to lead. I needed to help. I needed to just lean into the community. And that's like my biggest thing is the tendency, what you feel like what you should do when life feels hard is to pull away, but it doesn't help you. It doesn't get you any closer to where you want to go. It doesn't help you feel like you're part of something. So the best thing you can do, is awkward and as weird as it feels, to just like be real and admit that you're struggling. That's where you need to be. You need to be with people who are going somewhere.
Alexis says, I've only invited people I know. How do you go about inviting people you don't know?
I think, gosh, okay, so I'm in a different phase in my business right now. Most of the people that I invite are people I don't know. And I'm the opposite. Like when I have someone who I actually know, I'm like, okay, but I flat out tell them that I'm nervous that I was like nervous to ask them. I'm honest. I'm like, hey, sometimes I struggle at like asking someone who I know, but I would feel bad if I didn't ask. But for people that, I'm just trying to think back to like before because I gained a lot of followers with Kenzie's situation. So that's different. Like it just, so people follow me for her, which sometimes I'm like, come on, you guys, I'm cool too. But, I think part of it too is when you invite someone, like, is it genuine? Like, do you see a solution for them? Do you genuinely want to work with them? Do you like this person? So again, I lead with honesty. If it's someone who I could see myself being friends with, I'll tell them that, like, hey, you seem really cool. I'm not sure if you saw, I'm not sure if you'd be interested at all, but I'd love to have you on my team. Like, you just seem like you'd be a great fit. Do I cold message? I don't. So I will message people who are following me or people that I've had conversations with before if they're not following me. I personally do not like getting messages from someone who I'm not following. I have no idea who they are, and it makes me mad. That's just me. If you're okay with receiving messages like that and you're like, oh, cool, I haven't heard of this hair product, that's awesome, I'll give it a try, then go ahead. I think that do what feels right to you. I personally like to, I will message people who follow along. I'll message people who are following but maybe not watching my stories. That's still like a warm invite though. That's just what feels right and natural to me though.
So Gabby says, I'm new. I don't know how you guys get people. So I'll take that. So people are only going to want from you what you talk about. So if you talk about nothing, they are not going to want anything from you. So your number one job as a coach is to be proof that the products work, AKA make your health and fitness your number one priority and take care of yourself every single day. Share that openly and authentically to you and invite others to do it with you. So everybody on the team started at day one, square one, no results, no followers, no success, no results, whatever, right? So, but they were willing to show up for themselves with their program, with their Shakeology, and share that with the social media world, their community, and people in their tight-knit circles. So by doing that, that is what's going to at least open up the conversation for people to answer a message that you may send them or inquire about why you seem so happy and positive or how did you get those results. If people don't see a change in you, in your positivity, your outlook, your results, whatever, then they're not going to want to join you. They're going to want to join someone who's seeing positive effects of what they're doing. So if you don't share, you basically have the doors closed to your business because you could be getting the best results in the world, but if nobody knows, they cannot join you.
Can I ask a question? I have two. The first one is, how do you go about sharing things other than your workouts? You know, like without just posting a picture like of your Shakeology. That's
Right.
the problem I run into is people really just want workouts because that's mostly what I talk about, even though I'm drinking Shakeology.
Totally. So I'm guessing you guys probably have access to the coach action plan, the Team Rockstar Fit coach action plan. Danny, from the Diamond retreat. Do you guys have that? No. Anyways, so there's a coach action plan and I can send it to you guys if you want, but I use that in my Get Started Right calls. But I like it because there's a question in there that asks people about what their 6 roles in life are. And so I can tell you right now, my 6 roles are wife, mom, debt crusher, coach, mentor, and overcomer. So overcomer, that's IVF, that's the time in the NICU, that's being a special needs mom. Like, so that one role, I have opportunities to talk about different parts of my life. But the really cool part about it is all 6 of those roles, I can relate back to coaching and how it's helped me in each of those roles. So paying off debt, I would not be able to do that without coaching. Being a mentor, how cool is it that I get to not only like provide for the dreams that I have, but I get to help other women do that. So come up with your 6 roles. What are the 6 main roles in your life that are important to you? But take it a step further and think about how can you relate coaching to that? How has coaching impacted each of those roles?
And Candice, sharing those things in your story is a great way to do that. I don't typically do, like, I would say once in a blue moon, I do an actual post about Shakeology. Now, back in the day, before we had stories and we were posting like 3 to 5 times a day, like Yahoos, like, yeah, of course I was posting about Shakeology, but now it's in my stories every single day with Chloe and I'm sharing my recipe, or I'll do a time lapse. Like, the things that you show enough is what people are going to want from you. So if somebody sees you drinking a shake, talking about a shake, sharing how you make it, sharing recipes every single day, you know, a lot of girls on the team do the little cool pour thing into the wine glass, like, find whatever suits you, but find a way to share it every single day so people just understand. And then talk about it in your stories. Like, you don't have to be like, I drink this 70 superfood shake and it's great. Like, why do you like it? What does it taste like? How do you make it? Why is it important to you? Why are you spending the $4 a day on it, right? Showing people the value of it, and then people will want that from you. I don't get a ton of objections on Shakeology because I show it every single day, and I've talked about why it's important. I've talked about how I used it as a prenatal vitamin when I was pregnant, and that there's no other shake on the market that can say that. So you're just going to be repeating yourself all the time because, again, not everyone watches with sound on, not everyone sees everything that we do, right? We can't be naive and think everyone sees everything and hears everything, reads everything. So the repeat factor of showing things over and over and over and over and over again is what's going to make people want that from you, right? It's quick, it's convenient. Do you struggle with getting veggies in? Do you struggle eating breakfast and starving yourself and then binging before lunch even gets there because you're so hungry? All of these are different things that you can show the value so people can see how it fits into their life and actually will help them enhance their results, because everyone wants results like yesterday, right? Okay, here's the tool that I'm going to give you. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to help your gut. You're going to feel great, which is going to make you want to do more towards your health and fitness kind of thing.
So you guys know how I told you about the brownies? The first time I had Shakeology for a full month, I realized 2 weeks in, I haven't craved a brownie since I started this. Like, that's a story to share, you know? Like, that's what people want. It's not necessarily that they want to lose weight overnight. Well, most do. But that's something that can significantly help somebody.
Just being willing to share over and over and over and over and over again. And you can find new ways. There's a million ways to say the same thing, right? I say the same thing in my posts over and over and over and over and over again, right? But if I don't say those things, then I miss out on a chance that one day Sally Joe is going to read it and she's going to be ready, right? If I don't talk about Shakeology, people are only going to want workouts from me. If I don't talk about coaching, nobody's going to join the team. So whatever you want, those are the things you have to focus on. You want people to join your team, you have to talk about coaching. If you want to sell challenge packs versus bod standalones, you have to talk about all the things that come with challenge packs and the value that they're getting when they do that. Otherwise, it's very confusing to your audience. If they only see, you know, a workout post here and there, then they don't understand that there are more options for them. Does anyone have any more questions for Lauren? These are all great questions.
I have a question for you. Talking about the 6 key roles, with somebody who is new to kind of learning those sorts of things about them, or finding out which of those 6 things play a key role for them in their lives, how would you help them break that down in their personal lives versus knowing what yours are and trying to kind of compare your life to theirs?
For sure. I'd say, first of all, it's really easy for me to help pick what their roles are based on just asking them who they are at the very beginning before they're even thinking about what their roles are. So it's easy for me to find out, are they a wife? Are they a mom? What do they do for a living? What's important to them? A question I always ask new coaches when they get started is, what would you do with an extra $100? And usually it's travel, or it's paying off debt, or having more choices. That right there is one of their roles that I try and fit in there because it makes it easier for them to talk about it right away. But some of them do struggle with 6 roles, but usually isn't it too hard to help guide them just by asking them more questions. What's important to you? Where would you travel more often if you could? Like, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do more of? How do you balance sharing Beachbody but also using social media as normal social media with friends and family? I feel like posts get lost if you post multiple times a day. I use my stories a lot for like daily life. But I try to filter through for my posts. I do 1 post a day, and I filter through my 6 roles. So when I do a post, I always go back to my page and I ask, what does it need? Like, where do I need to share from? It's never just to post. I am very, very picky about what posts go next to each other. So I'm very particular about that. So, but I think it's really easy for like new coaches, especially, to just think that they need to be a Beachbody billboard right from the start. But you were you before you became a coach. So keep sharing you. Coaching is just a role, a part of your life.
Any other questions, you guys? And yeah, it's not new, but with the invention of stories, it's so much easier for your friends and followers on social to get to know you like that, right? Before, it was like you had to post 3 to 5 times a day, which was exhausting, by the way. Trying to come up with that much content, it was exhausting. But you wanted to be in the know, right? Like, you wanted to make sure that you were the forefront of people's mind. But now with stories, people can get to know your personality, your quirks, your heart, all the things that you care about very easily by going on your stories and talking and sharing. A 4-clip thing of you talking, people can get to know your personality in a second, right? And that's what's great. They don't have to watch for a million years. I mean, some people will, but they don't have to watch now for a million years all your posts. And I think, you can make your feed look anything but Beachbody and still be talking about Beachbody as much as you want, right? Aesthetically looking, they wouldn't know you're a Beachbody coach, right? I mean, unless you're like literally waving like a blue flag or something, right, that says Beachbody on it. But the thing is people use their social media however they want. So if you're posting and the forefront of your mind is, what are people going to think of this? You're doing it wrong. Post about whatever you want as much as you want. That's your right, because everyone else uses social media any way they want. I mean, 100 wedding photos a day, even though they got married 3 years ago, I see it. 17 pictures of the baby. The baby literally didn't move 1 centimeter in any of them, but they had to post all of them because they couldn't pick just one. See it every single day. Political, crying, but woe is me. Like, anything you want, you can put it up there. That's your right. This is America. Okay? Do whatever you want with your social media. So I am excited about life and my family and fitness, and I'm going to talk about those things because that's what's important to me. I don't really care what people are thinking or if they think I'm annoying, because I know I'm not annoying, because I know that I'm happy and doing what makes me happy. So I'm going to share what I'm happy about. Okay, last questions for Lauren. Shelby says, what are you picky about in your posts, Lauren?
One, I just make sure it's a strong message and that it backs what I feel my feed needs, but I'm picky about like poses. And am I wearing the same outfit as I was yesterday? Like, you want to mix it up. I am picky about how it looks more than anything else. If I don't like how it looks, someone else might not. And if I'm trying to get new people to my page, I want them to follow. And so I'm very picky about how all of that flows.
Awesome. Well, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us and just reminding us that the road to success looks different for everyone, and it's never without setbacks, overcoming things not going the way. I mean, like you said, you had every reason not to continue with this, and people have quit for far less. I think I got 3 cancellations today. Like, people have quit for far less than what you went through. And so I just honor you and your time and your heart. And I'm just so thankful that you kept going, because you are such a light in this business and in our lives. Any last questions for her? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, let's do a boomy. We have 53 people on the call, which is absolutely insane. So I'm gonna have to do 2 screens, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right, boomy number 1. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, saving that. All right, going to screen 2. Okay, here we go. Oh. All right, boomy number 2. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm not even on there, but I thought I was, but. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. It is, I don't even know, April 27th. Today is Monday, I think. End of the month is Thursday. Obviously, if you don't know, our Beachbody Week runs Thursday through Wednesday. So if you want to rank advance to Emerald, to Diamond, to Star Diamond, you need to have whatever you need locked in by this Wednesday night. If you are at Success Club 0, Success Club 2, Success Club 4, you can absolutely hit Success Club this month. Beachbody is literally having its best month in the history of the company this month. They have had more challenge packs sold than any other time. More coach enrollments, more rank advancements, more everything. So if that doesn't tell you that people are ready, then you're just living in fear, because people are ready and willing to sign up to be coaches, to buy challenge packs, to join challenge groups, whatever your goal is. You can absolutely hit Success Club and more this month if you want to. You just have to be willing to put your head down and send the invite and not care what they say. Take the emotion out of it. You have a goal, and your goal is to help people. You cannot help them if you don't open your mouth. Okay? I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing night. Thank you so much for joining us.